NBC 10 breaking news.
Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news in Northeast Philadelphia. You see the plumes of smoke and the big fireball in the distance there. A small plane crashing in Northeast Philadelphia this evening. Right now we have several crews headed to the scene. You can see here from the map once again this intersection of Roosevelt Boulevard and Cottman Avenue. In this general area, lots of businesses in that area. We know there's a mattress firm in the 2500 block of Cottman Avenue. A Macy's in that area as well. We also got video from a witness who was in a drive-through when this happened. Let's take a look at that.
Oh, plane crashed. Oh, the plane just crashed.
And you can see just how shocking and disturbing that was for people who were just going about their daily business in that area of the city. We're going to go now to Tracy Davidson in our newsroom, who has more information about this crash. Tracy?
So, Fred, we're just getting different pieces of information that I want to pass along. This is from the Office of Emergency Management, Philadelphia Office of Emergency Management. They have pushed this out. First responders obviously responding to this fire that you've been showing near Cottman Avenue and Bustleton Avenue. And as you've been saying, this is a super busy area on a calm day. But now they're having to evacuate the mall, and there's backed up traffic, and they're closing off sections, so it's very busy. They say expect smoke and traffic, avoid the smoke, close the windows, which means they're concerned about something in the smoke that you're seeing there. And from some of the video that we've seen, you can see the very, very black smoke. We're getting a little bit of information about the plane as well. We understand that it was a medical plane. It had just left Northeast Airport, which is not too far, as you know, from the mall. And it was headed to, according to FlightAware, it was headed to Springfield, Missouri. We are working to find out how many people were on board the plane, and we're working to confirm some other things. But we do know that there is a staging area right now for the Philadelphia Fire Department at Cottman and the Boulevard. And again, the Office of Emergency Management, for people who live in that area, they're saying expect smoke, expect traffic. So if you're near there, stay where you are. Don't go near that intersection. Don't go near the mall. They're also evacuating the mall, and avoid the smoke. So if you're outside, try to get inside somewhere and keep your windows closed.
An awful lot going on. Obviously, we're kind of getting pushed back out of this parking lot. We were trying to get closer to the actual scene where this plane is crashed, of course, according to our sources. If you can look way down there, that is where the action is. That is where you see a lot of those flames that we've seen in videos as well. We've talked to several people as we've walked to this area talking about they heard an explosion. They felt the explosion. They felt a shake. We do have some cell phone videos that were passed to me that just shows this area engulfed in flames, but you can see the large presence here on ground of first responders, police, firefighters as well. If we take a tour, Mark, if you want to spin around just a second real quickly, I just want to show you just all the people that are out here too as well. Besides this huge presence, you can see everybody that is lined up throughout here. Near Cottman and Bustleton is where we are right now, but as we just pan the area, you can see we're at the Roosevelt Mall. There's just a whole bunch of people here, and of course there are staging areas being set up right now with the media. If I look down here as well, Mark, if we can come over here, you can still kind of see some of the flames and smoke, excuse me. That's because we believe there was some damage to at least one home over here down off of Cottman.
Obviously, we're all working through what we know and what we don't know right now. But here is what we know, that at 6:05, that plane crashed at Roosevelt and Cottman. It caused 3 homes to catch on fire and numerous vehicles. Again, as we've all been saying, there is a staging area at Cottman and Bustleton. We have also confirmed that 2 pilots were on board this medical jet. Unknown injuries. We do know that PGW, PECO, the water department are all on location. This is still a very active scene. Office of Emergency Management is telling people to stay away from that scene, and if you are near that scene, to get inside, because they're concerned about any toxicity that might be in that smoke that's coming from the flames. Jacqueline and Fred?
We apparently have radio transmission video, and we want to take a look at that right now. Approach to runway 24, what's going on down there?
Position 765, we have a lost aircraft. We're not exactly sure what happened, so we're trying to figure it out. For now, the field is going to be closed, so no inbounds or outbounds probably.
So you can hear the response there from dispatchers saying they would close the field after a report of that plane going down.
He said a lost aircraft.
Traffic and high tensions in Northeast Philadelphia this evening after that MedJet crash around 6 o'clock. I want to show you now some door cam video into our newsroom from a neighborhood, and there you see it right there. So disturbing because now we know what that is, and the plume of smoke and fire.
This is the first time we are seeing the video of the plane actually going down right there.
Wow.
Going down in the ground, and then the flames and the smoke emitting.
And you see the timestamp on that video, too, showing you when that happened.
That impact, massive. It's frightening when you think of just how many people live and work in this area and would have been in that vicinity at 6 o'clock on a Friday night.
And this is a new piece of video that we're seeing here. You can see what looks like debris in the area, probably within closer proximity, things still on fire right there, and the fire department right there responding to it.
Deanna, what can you tell us?
Right now, of course, police and fire sources are scrambling to try and get people out of the area to try and control traffic in the area. Obviously, if you're trying to get near that section of the city or Lower Bucks County, find a different way around it because traffic control has been very difficult. I can tell you from police sources that there were a number of people in the Roosevelt Mall area that they were trying to evacuate. And shortly after this plane crash happened, after 6 o'clock, the 911 center in Philadelphia was flooded with phone calls. Some of the descriptions that people were calling in were loud explosions, that a house exploded. In one case, it was unclear if anyone was inside the home, but another call that came in saying several people were hurt. What I'm hearing from a variety of different sources is this was a medical plane that had staff on board, including the pilots and some medical staff on board as well, that they are trying to confirm exactly how many people were on board the plane at the time that this happened. Sources tell me the plane was cleared for takeoff, and then the crash happened shortly after that.
It was very difficult getting here, trying to get around in both the traffic and also pedestrians. A lot of people walking around the area. At one point, we turned onto a street and there was just a stream of people coming toward us, along with officers who were trying to block off that street. Behind them, we could see smoke coming from a building, and we were told there was an active fire going on. So we're still trying to figure out exactly where the different sites are, where this plane was, where perhaps parts of this plane are, and anything else that's impacted by it. But we did turn onto a small street where we could see smoke coming from what appeared to be a residential building. I know that you've been talking about the Roosevelt Mall and some of the commercial buildings, but we were in a residential section where we were seeing that smoke coming from.
Let's go now to Aaron Baskerville, who is here on the scene in Northeast Philadelphia with more. Aaron, what are you seeing?
Yeah, just walk with us. We were just being moved out from the neighborhood over there. We were near Calvert over here in the back roads of the neighborhood where a lot of folks were being pushed out, evacuated, getting out of that area because some work was being done down one of the streets, one of the homes that was still damaged. But we were able to talk to some folks as you make our way down here. We're trying to get to the staging area right now. I did have a chance just to talk to a woman a little while ago who saw a lot of this firsthand, said she saw at least a half a dozen cars or more that were on fire and burning, and obviously she's never seen anything like that before. But right now, if you just bear with us, look over there to the left right there, Mark, you can see the smoke billowing. That's where we were just about 2 minutes ago before we got pushed back. But from this vantage point, you can see the smoke billowing from the buildings over there. Obviously, they are feverishly working on that area as we speak. We're making our way up towards Cottman and the Boulevard, I believe, to see if we can get to this vantage point where the media is staging. Mark's going to walk with us, but obviously there are a lot of people still trying to get to their homes back over there, which they can't. We know a lot of the roads back in the neighborhoods, they're jammed with cars. I mean, cars can't even move, so they're just basically a parking lot in the neighborhoods, and cops are pushing everybody out, including media, out of that area because they want nobody back there as they continue to do this all-important work on the buildings over there.
Now there's a close shot where you can see all of the smoke and the flames.
Yeah, and you could just see firefighters look like they were putting water on that fire, if I'm not mistaken, from the first shot we saw.
We had been reporting that 2 people were on board the plane. We were unsure if there was also a patient who was being transported because it was a medical plane. Right now on our screen, we are seeing at least 6 people were on board that plane that crashed. We were initially saying there were 2 people, but now apparently there were 6 people who were on board that plane that went down.
Yeah, this is a fluid investigation. Usually in the preliminary stages of the FAA investigating these crashes, we get new information and updates, and sometimes numbers change.
This is Mikey. He works at this gas station right here on the corner of Cottman and Roosevelt. Just what, Mikey, a block, 2 blocks down from where this happened. Tell me what you saw and what happened after that.
So I was at the door over here at the gas station, and all you heard was this loud bang when the whole building started shaking. You literally, right here, you could see a whole flames just engulf inside in the sky. Like it was a huge fire, huge fireball going in the sky. So I tried to, keep the door shut because debris was flying over here. And customers were trying to like run outside and stuff. I didn't want any of our customers to get, hurt by any objects flying in the air. So I tried to keep the door shut. After a while, I opened it up and I went to go run over there to see, what exactly happened. And, a lot of people were over here like in shock, like just scared and like running and screaming. People were crying. And when I got over there, as I'm walking down, I seen like pieces of like a plane or like metal objects all straight down Cottman Ave. So when I got down right past the Sides Hot Chicken, you could see a whole line of cars completely in flames. And, first responders, the police, they arrived very fast. The response was perfect. They came down and, I don't know, like from the side of my eye, I looked over and you could see the house was on fire. So we're literally screaming to the police like the house is on fire. So the firefighters, they ended up going down that block to assist for the house, but it's really tragic, and I really feel sad. I feel bad for the families and everybody that was involved, and I just hope that everybody's okay.
Just come here real quickly. Just tell me what we're live. So just tell me what you saw. I know you're really.
Bath and Body Works. Getting some stuff for me and my sister. Sorry, and out of nowhere, just everything just shook. I thought like the buildings fell or something. I look outside and then all you see is a huge explosion. I look outside and bam, you see all this fire. And then I started shaking and then I see a person running on fire, and it was just.
So you saw a person on fire running, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw a video of that, but you actually saw that, right? So once again, are you running outside? Tell me what you're doing.
I didn't know what to do. I was just there. I was just shook because it's like something crazy. You just see somebody on fire. Like that's something you see in a movie, but like you see it in person. It's just very like.
Did you see what ended up happening to that person? Were they able to run? Were they able to put out the fire or get on the ground or anything?
I lost sight of them, and I was also like shook because I seen that happen. It's just like, yeah.
You see all that fire in such a heavily populated area. Like, what's going through your heart? Is your heart racing? What is going through?
There's just so much things going on because like I was just there like a minute to 2 minutes ago, right before, and then I walk in the store, and then. As soon as I walk in, maybe I was in there for 30, 40 seconds. You look behind and you see an explosion. It's like I was late, maybe by I made it after 2 minutes. If I was 2 minutes late, I was like right there.
So obviously you're grateful, you're thankful, because I've heard from other people that they could have been there, they could have just been feet, yards away, and you're feeling that same emotion.
Yeah, I was literally there. If I was 2 minutes late into that store, if I waited at a light or something, that could have been me right there.
We're getting more information about the timeline of this crash. FlightAware shows the plane, again, as we have known and said, that it took off from Northeast Airport around 6:06. Take a look at that flight path on your screen. The green line shows how far the plane made it, about 1,600 feet in the air, We also have a recording from air traffic control from the moment the plane took off. So let's listen to that initial communication.
Medevac Med Service 056 on departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff, wind 25010.
That's when the plane was preparing for departure. The next clip you're going to hear is when the plane was cleared for takeoff.
Medevac Med Service 056 affirmative. On departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff.
Okay, and then shortly after that, the air traffic controller tries to make contact with the plane on departure, and you will hear the pilot respond.
Medevac Med Service 056, contact Philly departure 123.8.
123.8, Mike Tango Sierra 056 Medevac. Thank you, good day.
And after takeoff, air traffic control tries to make contact with that pilot again. You will hear they get no response from the Medevac Med Service. Listen to this.
Medevac Med Service Northeast Tower. Medevac Med Service 056 Northeast Tower, you on frequency?
Medevac Mike Tango Sierra 056 Northeast Tower, how do you hear this transmission?
There are a few more attempts from air traffic control to make contact with the plane. Next, you hear air traffic control refer to the plane as a lost aircraft.
Approach to runway 24, what's going on down there?
Position 755, we have a lost aircraft. We're not exactly sure what happened, so we're trying to figure it out. For now, the field is going to be closed, so no inbounds or outbounds probably.
Claudia Vargas is joining us now. I know you've been doing a lot of research over the past couple of hours. Are you giving us information on the plane?
I just spoke with the spokesperson for the company, Jet Rescue Air Ambulance, and they confirmed that they do not believe there are any survivors on this plane. They have confirmed that there were 6. 4 of those were crew. 1 was a minor who was a patient, and then that patient's guardian. They were actually all Mexican nationals and were headed back to Tijuana today, and it's unclear if the pilots there had taken off previously from the airport in the Northeast, but they're very experienced pilots is what I'm told. They fly about 600 flights each year, and so they're saying that this is very rare and that it comes as a big shock to them that this would have happened.
And as far as we know, the plane was not in the air very long at all.
No,
prior to crashing.
it had just taken off and it had just refueled, hence why we saw the big flames.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately. But we do have a soundbite from the spokesperson we spoke with.
What were they doing in the U.S.? What were they doing in Philadelphia?
Medical care. The patient came to the United States for medical care. And the trip was a trip to repatriate her back, and much to our regret, it appears that there are no survivors from that crash.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So was the patient receiving care here at a hospital in Philadelphia?
The patient was received. I'm not at liberty to say where and what, especially because it's a minor child. All I can say is she came to the United States for life-saving treatment. The treatment ran its course. She was ready to go home, and we were contracted to bring her back home to Mexico. The flight's ultimate destination was Tijuana International Airport, from which they were scheduled to go home by ground ambulance.
And another thing that Mr. Gould shared is that the flight was actually being paid by an international charity. So this was a charity giving to try to, as he said, repatriate the daughter and mother back to their country after receiving care
What we
here.
know is an angel flight.
Yes, correct. Sometimes referred to
So
as an
tragic, a
angel flight.
pediatric patient on board, as well as crew members, and as you told us now, a guardian. We want to go right now to Arthur Wolk, aviation expert right now, who we just spoke to regarding the plane crash 2 days ago in the Potomac River, D.C., now talking to you, unfortunately, about this tragedy that happened right in our own backyards. What can you tell us, what you know, and what you have learned so far?
I think the most important bit of evidence that we've seen so far is the doorbell video showing the aircraft descending at an incredible angle, like almost 45 degrees, which means that the airplane was out of control. No pilot would voluntarily descend any airplane at that angle. That probably resulted in the airplane striking the ground at over 400 knots. and probably 5 or even 10,000 feet a minute going down that fast. So something overtook this flight crew, whether it was a mechanical malfunction that affected the pitch of the airplane, in other words, up or down, whether it was a flight control malfunction that wouldn't allow them to recover the airplane, whether there was an instrument failure in the airplane that would not allow them to fly the airplane under the weather conditions that existed, although there are duplicates of all those instruments with the first officer on the right seat, and so that is less likely. I think given the horrible destruction, the sad, utter and complete destruction of this airplane, I think much of the evidence will have to come from the cockpit voice recorder to see what the crew was talking about. And perhaps if they communicated their emergency to air traffic control, those air traffic control tapes might be helpful as well. And then that might drive the investigation to look at whatever small pieces there are left to see what, if any, malfunction there was.
Aaron, you've been providing some very compelling and personal insight from people on the ground who you've encountered, who witnessed all of this unfold.
Yeah, quite frankly, just to be honest with folks out there, it's quite unnerving, and it's to me, who I've seen a lot, it's extremely shocking. We've talked about the weather and the rain, and we've talked about the mayor and others wanting people to leave this area, not be onlookers, so to speak. And the more it rains, maybe that works in their favor of folks leaving this area and not staying here. But just a quick turn, really quickly, Mark, right there. There are still folks that are still out here, so they haven't left yet, but the crowd seems to be dying down and thinning.
And we know one of the victims was on that plane was a little girl who was here for treatment. She was returning home to Mexico after receiving treatment for life-threatening illness, and apparently that treatment went well and she was returning home. And we are now hearing from the hospital where she was being treated. Shriners Children's has released a statement saying it's heartbroken to confirm that one of our pediatric patients and the child's mother were aboard that jet rescue air ambulance that crashed in Philadelphia this evening. The patient had received care from Shriners Children's Philadelphia and was being transported back to her home country in Mexico on a contracted air ambulance when the crash happened. Because of patient privacy concerns, we cannot say more about the patient and her family at this time. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families of the medical crew and pilots who were also lost in this tragic event, as well as all the people who were affected on the ground. And we are thankful to the first responders for their quick action. And that, again, is from Shriners Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
Absolutely heartbreaking to hear those stories.
Such a difficult night here in Northeast Philadelphia. I spoke with several people tonight who saw this crash happen. People who live in this neighborhood, in these homes behind me, people who were shopping in the area at the time. One man I met, he actually had a camera on his dash cam and it was rolling at the time of the crash. He shared that video with us in the car. They went from talking just common conversation. He was picking up his mom and his wife from getting their nails done to, in an instant, seeing that crash happen, seeing debris hit their car. He says he froze in that moment, unsure of what to do next. And then he says he looked up and he saw that people were injured nearby. Here, he describes what happens next.
There was a red pickup truck next to me in the line. I saw a kid with a massive head cut. I gave the shirt off my back just to help him. I ran back to my car. I got rags, anything I could find in my dad's car. And I'm taking it there. I'm giving them out to whoever needs them. If it's mine or if it's major, I give them more. It doesn't matter because I've always been taught help others.
That man told us that the child who he helped, who he rendered aid to, eventually they were able to see a police officer take that child away. He believes to a nearby hospital. He says it's going to be tough for him to sleep tonight as he thinks about how that person is doing, how so many people who are affected by this are doing. He, one of so many in this area, again, we keep on talking about how busy this area is with the homes and the traffic at that time and the shopping right nearby. one of the many people I'm sure who will be having difficulty sleeping tonight, thinking about what happened here as they continue to try to process this.
Bruce is going to turn around a little bit so you can get a view of the mall here. We showed you this from a little bit more of a distance. We're up a little closer now, right just as far as we are allowed to go. And we can see the emergency vehicles, the police vehicles, the larger trucks around the mall, not just on the side that we are, but now that I'm up a little bit closer, I can see that there are also some to the far end of the parking lot and over to the side there as well. It is a massive response here. And this is just the corner that I can see. I know you've been talking to Aaron Baskerville, who is on the other side of this scene, or at least this part of the scene. That's another thing we've been coming to understand here, is that we do not yet know just how large this debris field is going to end up being and how large this entire impacted area is going to be. That includes, of course, the neighborhoods that Shaban has been in. And where we are right now, we saw state, local officials, the mayor, the governor, here with other local officials, the police commissioner, all giving an update. I want to play you a little of what the governor had to say about what we are seeing here on the ground, in addition to the work from first responders.
Tonight we also saw the best of Philly. We saw neighbor helping neighbor. We saw Pennsylvanians looking out for one another. I want to reaffirm the comments the mayor said about all of the different agencies working together, and I want to especially thank and salute Philly Fire and Philly Police, who did an extraordinary job this evening. We know that there will be loss in this region, and we want to offer our thoughts and our serious prayers for those who are grieving at this moment.
I believe we're taking a live picture right now, is what this is, of Rupert and St. Vincent Streets. Still an active scene at this hour. You can see personnel right there. You can't see exactly what they're looking at, but you see the cars lining that street. Clearly an active scene at Rupert and St. Vincent.
Yeah, and a view we haven't seen all night, actually. Investigators on the scene obviously combing through evidence at this point. Here's what we know right now. Just before 6:30 Friday night, a medical jet carrying 6 people crashed in Northeast Philadelphia near the intersection of Roosevelt Boulevard and Cottman Avenue. According to the FAA, the plane was a Learjet 55 that had just left Northeast Philadelphia Airport and was headed for Springfield, Missouri when the crash happened. One of the people on board that plane was a young girl, a pediatric patient, who was returning to Mexico with her mother after receiving treatment for a life-threatening illness here in Philadelphia. All 6 people on board the flight remain unaccounted for. 6 people who were on the ground during that crash were also hospitalized, and multiple homes and vehicles in the area also caught fire.
And you know, it was chilling too in the video we were watching. Maybe it'll come up again. You could actually hear the sound of that plane going down. It was almost like a whistling sound, which is just chilling on top of everything else we have seen tonight. We will continue to bring you updates on air and online. Our coverage will continue starting at 5 a.m. with our morning show team. Make sure you download our NBC 10 app for the very latest developments. Thank you for staying with us on this breaking news this evening.